All right. It was a good effort by our guys tonight. I thought we had a lot of carryover from practice the last couple of days. And, a lot of things that we did was just more so the attention to detail piece to it. Trying to, still get comfortable playing with two bigs and all the different things, So was really proud of the carryover we got. Really proud of the first two games of our defense as well. I think we're doing a great job defensively. We're turning guys over. Like we haven't had it in the past as much, obviously, but, just having another guy out there, Mo, and then having Payton as well, along with Bai, who, obviously played tonight, you got a lot of size on that backside. And, when you're playing against certain teams, they can probably feel it a little bit more. And, they did a good job, our bigs. I thought Mo had 4 block shots tonight, and he just did a good job coming weak side. But just a collective. It was a collective effort, and I was just proud of the guys. And I always say this is a make or miss game. Made 5 threes last game. We made 10 this game, and so it just changed the complexion of it. So I was just proud. I was proud. Kai Fleming, he really played well. He played well. He really ignited us when he came in. I was happy for Cam Kraft. I thought Cam played well. The minutes weren't there, obviously, based on the game. But, Cam did a lot of good things. And, he's coming. And then Kawasi, he's always, for me, just been solid. And, I think that Jaden's done a good job at point guard. I do believe he's just going to continue to get better. He plays the speed limit. And I think that sometimes you got to understand how the game is, and he's a different type of point guard. It's not his natural position, but at the same time too, he's more than capable. And then with Bai coming back tonight, you just kind of see the difference in our team. You see the difference in him. When you're looking at him, you see a guy that's been in college 3 years, and there's a maturity to his game, and he's worked all summer on his game. He stepped out and he hit a 3, so was really excited for him. And as he continues to practice and get a little better flow, we can take, trying to take the minutes up a little bit. We wanted to keep him at around 20, to kind of rev him up. And, now we'll have a couple practice, rev him up more than we got Monday's game. So, we'll see how he responds moving forward, from playing. So, but was really glad to have him back out there. He gives me a calmness, because he's been with me for 3 years, so.
You normally look for guys like Mo and Bai to carry the offensive load, but tonight those 3 guys, Fleming, Wassey, and Kraft, really got you guys going until those guys were able to get into the flow of the game.
Yeah, the thing about it is, what I've had to tell our guys is you have to go out there and play the game. Those bigs are going to get theirs anyway, because that's just the way, that's kind of the way we play, But we got to get the guards going, and they got to know where their shots are coming from. But the biggest thing tonight is, we made threes in half court, but we got out in transition early, and we did some really good things. I thought Wasey, he really got going, and he really responded. After hitting the big shot, in the game on Monday, he came right back, and, he had a good game from start to finish. And then, I thought he really guarded number 99 really well. He came into the game. He's a pretty good player, but Wasey did a good job. He made him work, contested shots, did really good things. So, Cam, Wasey, and Kai, they ignited us. I thought all 3 of them did a really good job.
Coach, just want to ask you a little bit about, just the depth of this team. I know you've talked about it in some of your pressures before, but 25 bench points tonight. Just what does that mean to you? I mean, everybody contributing. Obviously, Kai had a lion's share of that, but just everybody coming in and contributing, not only offensively, but also defensively.
Oh, man, trust me. It as a coach, it makes you feel good when you got depth, because can't nobody hold you hostage. You know what I mean? You don't have to give out free minutes, is what I like to say, So it's we got a really, first of all, we got a deep team, we got a competitive team, but they like each other. And so what I think, we have is a good spirited competition, amongst the guys, because they're all going to play anyway. You know what I mean? So it's the way I want to play. It's the style I want to play. You seeing multiple guys coming in and out, and I think that especially early on it's big for us to know what we have, because, some situations are going to call for specialty situations. You might need a guy who can shoot. We might have to come off the bench with a Chatfield or somebody. But, I just think that everybody has a presence and a role with this squad, and I love the depth that we have.
Mo, obviously, he has a lot of these disruptive things. I think 10 blocks and steals through his first 2 games total. And getting the double-doubles from him, just is it cool to see kind of what you preached? You talked about kind of comparing him to Favors and those kind of things, to see that start to kind of illustrate against real opponents and real games that count?
They all count. The left hand, when they go in the left-hand column, and it count. Trust me, because if this was in the right-hand column, we wouldn't be having the same conversation. So they all count, and, it's just stacking days for me with Mo. Ever since practice, the scrimmages, he's, I'll say this, I don't think he's played an A game yet, So what does an A game look like? I don't know, but I haven't seen it yet. But I think what happens with him is he becomes better with Bye. So I'm excited to see them, playing together. Again, to have Bye being out there talking to Mo and being able to, get him to do some different things, and just, I call it buddy ball, just the whole buddy ball aspect of it on the offensive end and then on the defensive end as well. So, Mo has become Mo. We expect, nothing less than 10 rebounds a game, and the points in terms of that's just going to come, and the block shots, he's getting better with that. Early on in a couple of the scrimmages that we had, he wasn't getting off the ball. He didn't see it as fast, but now you can tell he's releasing, he's going, he's getting shots, he's blocking shots at the top, and, I'm excited about him, as we do move forward.
Did you get the rebounding from the guards that you were asking for?
You know what? I didn't get enough. I want Wasey. Wasey got to get more than 1 rebound. Cam, more than 1 rebound. You can't play 20-plus minutes and get two rebounds between your wings. I want to see them rebound a little bit more. I want Kai to rebound a little more, especially with his athleticism. I thought Jaden did a really good job. He got 5 rebounds, 4 defensive. So, I was always taught as a guard, if you get the rebound, you can push the break. And, we got to help those bigs. We just can't watch them get all the rebounds. And, that's one thing I'm going to keep on preaching, because between Mo, between Bye, and between P, we can't just watch them the whole game and just, expect them to get every rebound. We get guard rebounding, then that just makes us even better.
Did you ever envision when you first got Payton in here, he's already played, it's a little bit shy, but not a lot shy of half as many minutes as he played during last season in Missouri. Did you envision when he first came anything like this?
I didn't have any expectation for Payton. Recruited him out of high school. But the biggest thing for me is the weight, managing that, and then we'll go from there. And, I would say for me, number one, he's a good kid. He got an infectious personality, but his game, he's exceeded expectation, and I think that he's only going to get better. He reminds me a lot. And this is what drew me to him on the initial. I played with Oliver Miller, and he really reminds me of Big O. His arms aren't as long as Big O, but Big O could pass that ball, and he could set a mean screen. And, I think Payton has a lot of those attributes, and you've seen the way he can pass the ball, and that's an art. We can play through him. If we were struggling offensively, we could play through him, and he can make plays, and you don't really have that a lot. And I just think he's going to keep getting better, and I'm glad we have him.
Did you teach him that spin move on the baseline?
I didn't teach him that. That was real nimble of him. You know, I'm telling you, P is light on his feet for a big guy now. You know, P he does a really good job. But now I'm telling you, he's again exceeded expectation up to this point. But I told him when he came though that I was gonna keep my foot on him. You know what I mean? Because I don't want him to ever think that it's good enough. Because he has a lot of talent.
Kind of a two-part question, Coach. Just your thoughts on how Baydongo performed tonight and just being able to deploy as the second part of the question, just that all-freshman lineup, just getting them early minutes and kind of meshing together as the season kind of goes on.
Well, I thought Bai was good for a first game. You know, he's been doing a lot of different things, but you know, to get out there on the floor and to move the way he did, I thought he moved really well. Again, when I looked at his game, being with him from day one, it's just the seasoning of it. You know, body looks good. He made really strong moves to the rim. He hit a three. I just thought that he gave us a common influence all game long. And then the freshmen, it was good to get them out there. They've been getting better each and every day, and I wanted to put them on the court just to get some real game action, you know, because I know that, you know, down the road, you know, some of them might not get the same playing time, but it was good to get them out there together. They had last 2 days, they've had some good days of practice, and, you know, it was good to get their feet wet a little bit more, and, you know, as we're getting, you know, now to Game 3 and Game 4 coming up next week. So it was good for them to get out there.
Speaking of the freshmen, do you see Cole having that natural instinct for rebounding?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing with Cole is just strength. Once he you know continues to get stronger and things like that, Cole's going to be a really good player. I'm excited about him. You know, he was the first player that committed to me when I came to Georgia Tech, and he's done a really good job. And you know, he just has to keep working, and he's gonna get a lot of payback because in practice he plays against some of the best bigs in the country. So that's gonna do him really well as he moves forward in his career and his trajectory.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right, appreciate y'all. Appreciate it.